I wonder if I can loop back just a second to something where you started and you said, how do you help parents who are kind of trapped in their enmity, right? Like they're just trapped in their anger about the affair. Let's just use that because it's a relatively common one, right? I'm sitting in the office with a set of parents. Maybe the wife has had the affair and the husband is sitting there in a complete state of anger and bereft and hurt feelings. I am going to do a process with them called going into your pain point. It's a therapeutic process, although I'm not doing therapy, but it's a thing where I will sit there with that data and I will literally talk with him very directly about that pain. You are so completely hurt. Your heart is broken. It feels like what she's done is taken a machete and just sliced and diced your entire sense of family. I'll just go after it. And the reason that I mention this, sometimes what someone needs is just to know someone gets it.
Yes, to be seen.
To be fully seen, heard, understood, felt, that felt sense of you get me. And once I can do that whole shield, all that anger can begin to melt away. And now we can work. Now we can start talking about the child. Now we can start talking about how to take next steps.
Yes. And so you move away from the emotional baggage or trauma that came along with the breakup. As adults, we should have conflict resolution skills as adults, theoretically, but many of us don't.
Adulting.
Yes. That's the perception that children probably think, oh, we adults have it all together when we don't. So you've moved away from the emotional hurt that came with the breakup. Now, what are some key communication or negotiation or conflict resolution skills that you have found over the decades you've had to teach parents in order for them to get along?
So the first set of skills that we learn is how to do an email. And here's the ironic part about your left. But here's the ironic part about that. Almost all the parents that I work with have had some sort of an employment relationship or some sort of a relationship with other adults where it is important that they know how to write a skillful email. Except somehow when it comes to writing emails to each other, those skills go completely out the window.
All emotional and toxic, I assume.
And character assassinations and language that should never be put in an email in the first place, right? So we really work on building the guardrails for appropriate emails. And those things are things like an email should never be more than about 250 words per subject. If you're going on and on and on and on for paragraphs, there's so much commentary in there that has nothing to do with solving a problem, right? Yeah. So we
learning to be concise.
Be more concise. So be clear, be civil, be informative. Make sure you provide the information your co-parent needs in order to be constructive. I'm wondering if you would trade some parenting time with me for Saturday, the 10th of June, in exchange for Saturday, the 17th of June, from 9 to 5. There it is. There's the information. Could we do that? Right? So I'm clear, I'm concise, I'm civil, I'm informative, right? And that way, the other piece, and I'm child-centered. I'm asking for this request on behalf of our child. Now, it could be that I have to do a podcast with Tanisha, and it would be my parenting time, and I'd say, hey, can you keep our little one? The reason I would ask you to keep our little one is so that they were with a parent. And I would prefer that our little one is always with a parent if that's functional, right? When that's functional. So we start with emails. I teach them how to do business meetings 3 times a year. My co-parents all do business meetings.
What does that entail?
Yeah, well, I teach them that they are co-parent executive officers, that they are the C-suite now of their children's life. I'm borrowing from, of course, business terms for our parents who have heard these before, CEOs and CFOs, because they're also co-parent financial officers of their children's lives as well. Because once they figure out what activities their children do, they have to be able to pay for them. So anyway, the business meetings are in around the August timeframe. I ask my parents to sit down and plan for the first semester of school here in the States, right? I don't know how it works in Germany, but here it's kind of September through January. And when you think about that, that also includes a number of very important holidays. Here, that's American Thanksgiving and, of course, Christmas, New Year's, and some of the other religious holidays like Hanukkah, the high holidays, et cetera, right? All of those are important depending on who's sitting in front of me. We make sure that all of those have been planned for so that children get to celebrate and families get to, practice what's important to them. And so by doing those business meetings, everybody can leave with a sense of, I know how it's going to work. And now we just move forward. They sit down again in January for the second semester of school. And then they sit down again in March to finish up planning for the 10 weeks of summer. That may look different in different places in the world. And of course, it looks different for different families depending on what holidays they celebrate and what's important to them. But the idea of planning is what is the same, right? We have to talk about, we have to talk about someone going to take a swimming lesson or a gymnastics class or a soccer team, right? We have to talk about how that's going to work and how we're going to pay for it. That happens in our business meeting. Go ahead.
Okay.